Okay, guys, I'm back. So I'm back with another Dear Janae. One of my subscribers on YouTube sent this question, and I thought it was really good. So please make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, and also my email address is in my bio, coachingwithjanae at gmail. It's coachingwithjanay at gmail.com. So make sure you send your questions in, and remember your questions are, it's always going to be anonymous. So no, just full disclosure, your questions will be anonymous, but this is a good one. Dear Janae, I'm 39 years old and I've been dating a man for almost 3 years. We both have children from previous relationships and he's really good to my son. He tells me he wants to marry me when the time is right, but he hasn't proposed yet. I love him and our lives are intertwined. We spend time together, our children know each other, and we've talked about a future together. The problem is that marriage is important to me. How long do I wait, or should I be waiting at all? Well, it sounds like you made a pretty long investment. 3 years, I would say, at 39 years old, that's a pretty long investment. And also, it looks like you guys have relationships with each other's children, and he's really good to your son, so that's a plus. My question would be is that what does he mean by when is the time is right? So you would need to sit down and talk to him and have a serious conversation about when, what does he mean by when the time is right? Is he saying when he has more money and 10 more years? Like when is the time is right? I'll be attested that the time ain't gonna never be right. So I don't know what he means to that, but ask him that. Um, and of course, I believe you guys love each other, and I'm going to assume that you guys live together. How long do you wait? I feel like that's a personal question that only the woman herself can answer. Invested into this relationship many years, but if a marriage is ultimately your goal and it's important to you, sometimes I do feel like you have to put a timeline on things. Again, that's up to you, and if this is worth throwing away if he never decides to marry you. So this is the question I would say to you. If this man never marries you, is it worth still leaving? Would you be okay if he never marries you? That's the question for you. How important is marriage to you? Is it that important to you that you would throw your 3 year relationship away with a man who loves your child? And are you okay with being a forever girlfriend? All women don't want to be married, and some women are okay with just being a girlfriend, to have the companionship, have everything else except for the actual marriage. Now, for me, marriage was important to me. That was my ultimate goal. I feel like marriage is the highest act of commitment for me. And for me, I needed marriage. Um, you and him don't have children together, which is a plus. In case you do want to walk away, I believe it's always harder to walk away when children are involved. But for me, marriage was the ultimate goal for me. So for me, I gave, when I was ready to finally be married, I would say I would give a man 2.5 years, depending on the situation. There's never an absolute, but depending on the situation, I think 2.5 years is ultimately enough time for a man to know whether he wants to marry you or not. And if money is the issue, then tell him you want to go to the courthouse. It's not about the big wedding, it's about being married to him. So then what would be the excuse to him, right? My fear for women is always that I don't want women to be just dragged along being a girlfriend forever. And then you wake up and it's 20 years, you've just been a girlfriend, but your ultimate goal was to be married. So you basically ultimately need to make the decision is if it is it okay for you to never be married? And if not, is that something you're willing to just throw away and walk away with? So that would be my response to you. Also, if you can also just after you answer all these questions to yourself, and then also once you have that conversation with him, if you can also just send in a follow up email that I would like to read with your permission, that would be great. So I'm definitely looking forward to hearing feedback from you guys. How would you guys handle this situation if this was you? What advice would you have for her in this situation? Also, make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And then I'll try to do at least 1 week of one question answer, Dear Janae, a week. So make sure you guys comment.